All right, one moment. Let's give people some time to come in. Hello, everybody. I'm gonna grab a soda. All right. How is everybody? If you're in the chat, please let me know you can hear me. That's very important. I'm going to make sure that the desktop audio is on as well. Trying to go through my checklist. Make sure I can hear as well. Yep, okay. I can hear as well. Awesome. Awesome sauce, as some say. Hello, viewer. How are you? Oh, hey, Joker. How you doing? I always forget to put chapstick on. Hey, Mezza. Okay. Restream seems to be acting a bit weird. Let me see. Let me try to refresh it. For some reason. For some reason it's acting goofy. Okay, well, it might have cleared itself up. Hey! Hey, Ichi. Ichimarugan 06? Sorry, I probably butchered that. Hey, Fried Green, what's up? How you doing? I am so excited. This week has been fantastic. And, actually, there's a couple other things I'll bring up. Once we're done with the Crisis Core reaction, there's a couple other things I'll bring up. Just updates in general that we gotten. But that'll be when I get to the Xerath and Cloudy stuff. So, what we're going to cover, just so you know, we're going to do a Crisis Core reunion final trailer reaction. It just came out yesterday. And it revealed Tifa on Tifa Tuesday, so that was awesome. But lots of stuff in that trailer, and I'm just going to warn people right now. If you don't want to be spoiled, one, don't listen to me. But two, this trailer spoils a lot. So if you do not want to see what it said, if you're one of the people who really don't know a lot about Crisis Core Reunion, or Crisis Core, I should say, you don't want to be spoiled. This will not be good for you. Do not watch that trailer. I was shocked at how much it's spoiled. Hey, Trixie! Oh, yeah. I just, we'll discuss, because okay, so what I'm going to cover is Crisis Core Reunion trailer, the final trailer. And by the way, I totally called that we would see a final trailer within like a couple weeks of the game coming out, and it would include Tifa. What I did not anticipate is that they would show the face caress. So I was, it was like 7 a.m. and I was sitting there like, because I saw Twitter blowing up. I was like, oh, I bet they showed it. I mean, I bet they dropped the final trailer. And then I looked on YouTube and it said 2 hours ago. I said, yes. I was screaming for like 15 minutes. And yesterday was so fun. It really was, for so many reasons. Alright, so Crisis Core Reunion trailer. Then I'll show you some of the Xerath goodies that they dropped and a couple Cloudy goodies that they dropped Monday, I believe. And then we'll just talk about Cloudy and Xerath for a moment, And then we'll get into some of the drama going on in the Final Fantasy 7 shipping discourse, and maybe a little bit of the theorist discourse as well. Just in general, some things that are going on that have caught my attention. So let's go ahead and get started. A couple more. Yes, Zifa. Woo woo. Yeah, they not to be fair, I don't know when this was from, but I did see like Yeehaw Tifa and Zack in like a First Soldier thing. I couldn't tell if that was new or old because they've been dropping so much Zack and Tifa and Clarith and not Clarith, they wish, Cloudy and Xerath all year that I'm like, it's honestly hard to keep up with at this point. Yes, I swear the caress is one of my favorite Cloudy moments. I know, it is so sweet because you really can feel like how Cloud feels about Tifa in that moment. Sephiroth is 20 feet away. He could come and kill him at any moment. He just stabbed him. He's got every right to be upset. You know what I mean? And he doesn't care. He wants to see if Tifa's okay. He's, like, oh my God. Cloud keeps winning and winning. Sure does. Hey, Charles. And I'm sorry. Hey, is it D. Lou? Hey, friend. How are you? All right. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to try to stay around an hour for this one. So, we're going to play the trailer in full. Just dropping by to say, what's up? Accidentally saw the end of that trailer, but I already knew what happens. Okay, yeah. And I do feel a little bit bad because, like, yeah, I get caught up sometimes in the fact that the game came out this one came out 15 years ago. The other one came out 25 years ago. And I do kind of get caught up in the fact that there is I sometimes forget that there is a whole generation of fans that doesn't know what happened. So, I need to, at the very least, I'm going to try to be a little more cognizant, at least of when I start streaming, telling people, hey, look, I am an OG streamer. I'm going to discuss the game in full. I'm not going to, unless I specifically say no spoilers, you have to assume I'm going to spoil something because the way my brain works, if something reminds me of this and that, I want to, like, as I'm speaking, I like to tie things together throughout the compilation to give my viewers my perspective on the full breadth of the series and why I conclude the things that I conclude depending on what's going on. So yeah, I will be more careful about that in the future. And then definitely with spoilers from the game, I'm going to be actually censoring my tweets, which I know might get a little annoying, but all you gotta do is just hit unhide if you want to see what I'm talking about. Honestly, it's not that big of a deal. I would rather be a little more courteous to people who don't want to, even if they know the story, don't want certain things to be spoiled, because I'm sure they're going to put something in there. They're going to put some stuff in there that's going to, even if it's just Easter egg stuff, you know what I mean? They're going to drop some stuff that is going to be like a surprise. I accidentally got spoiled on a face reveal. So, I have been blessed to, like, I've been playing God of War. I've gotten to Asgard. That isn't spoiling anything. There's 9 realms. Of course, Ragnarok, you eventually get to Asgard. That's where I'm at. I started a new job, so I'm trying to curate my schedule with a new job, so it's going to take me some time. I apologize. And it's just been kind of a hectic couple months for me with the situation that I've been having in real life. So that's why I mostly just tweet these days, but I am going to definitely get back on my streaming. But anyway, I'm rambling. So, yeah, I'll be more careful with the spoiler thing in the future. At least I need to start putting like spoiler alert, blah, 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 this and that. Yeah, I like Zach's new VA as well. Hey, Z-Less Runner. And by the way, let me do a quick shout out to a couple of people who followed me. So Kevin, of course, know you. Thank you so much, Kevin. Appreciate it. Ichi, thank you so much for following me as well. Bunny, also a person named Unknown User a week ago also followed me. So really appreciate it. I know that my content has been very sparse recently, like I said, but I'm going to work on that. I'm curating a schedule where I can put out consistent, at least once or twice a week, I can put something out consistently for y'all. So definitely appreciate the support. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We'll play the full trailer, then I'll catch up on what you all have to say, and then I'll give my reactions to each portion of the trailer. And I'm going to try not to scream over this entire video. So here we go. Let me know if you can't hear it or it's too low or anything like that. I'm going to be watching in the comments for anything untoward.
Those wings. I want them too.
The company has decided to eliminate Genesis and his cohorts. This includes Angeal as well.
That sword represents our family's honor.
I see. No wonder.
I've become a monster. A monster's objective is usually world domination or revenge.
I told you. You can't live on that side anymore.
Is that Angeal's face?
It appears Genesis isn't the only one who can be copied.
The mysterious gift of the goddess. What is the meaning behind it? For us, at least.
This song is really good, by the way. I love this song. I downloaded it on Amazon. Zach is such a goofball.
Those soldier people are kind of weird. They fight. And they love it.
If only I were soldier. Soldier is like a den of monsters. Don't go inside.
Do you remember what I said about our enemy being all that creates suffering? But I created my own suffering.
You want to do something to me, eh? But then, who will stop Genesis and Angeal's degradation?
If this world...
The facial animations are pretty good. Yeah, Cody is... I mean, look, no shade to Steve Burton, but Cody is clap sharp. I love this part.
Shira, soldier, and you. I hate you all!
Sephiroth! Why did you kill the townspeople? Why did you hurt Tifa? Answer me, Sephiroth!
Oh my god! I'm trying not to scream. Ah! Okay.
Sephiroth!
Cloud like, no.
The army's mobilizing. Find the targets before they do.
I'm getting goosebumps.
You hear me? Roger.
Alright, let's get going.
That looks like that was lifted straight out of Avid Children, by the way.
See you again?
Oh, Aerith looks so good in her original outfit.
I have to go to Midgar.
Oh my god. I can't handle this. Oh man, look. I have seriously been contemplating if I was even gonna play this damn thing on stream because legit. Whoo, I'll full disclosure. I know this is gonna sound shocking to people because, like I said, I played it in 2007, whatever, and then I've watched the gameplay multiple times over time. I actually, especially once this was reannounced, I haven't watched anything from Crisis Core because I want it to all be fresh as far as what you're looking at on the screen. Like when you're playing. I know, I have conversations about Crisis Core, individual things that happen, but it's different when you're actually viewing it. You get what I'm saying. But I've never watched the ending sequence in full. By in full, I mean like from start to finish in one sitting. I've never done it. So when I do it on my stream, it will actually be my true reaction to the full sequence. Cause look, I am not looking forward to this. Hey Ria, what's up, girl? So yeah, I know that might sound a bit shocking because I'm a content creator for Final Fantasy and all that. And it's not like I don't know what happens, but I just can't sit there. Like I've seen chunks, I've definitely seen chunks and I know what happened, but I can't. So this is gonna be, because I'm not one of those people who is fine with falling apart and crying all over the street. That's just not me. No knock to them. That's just not how I roll. Whew. So it's gonna be an emotional roller coaster. I haven't felt this way since I decided to play Final Fantasy 9 on my stream. And as we got closer and closer to the end, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Whoo, that was the hardest. I had to keep it together. Whoo, but anyway. So, we are, let me see. We're 14 days out. 2 weeks exactly. Oh, it's going to be incredible. Let's see. All right, hi, I did look like an AC clip. Absolutely no whispers in this version. Yeah, you think if whispers were running around just trying to change everything, why aren't they trying to change any of that? I don't know. Anyway, whatever. The whisper thing is just, yeah. I don't know how Cloud was able to withstand that hit and reverse it and throw him off the map like that. Yeah, so, again, spoiler alert, because it's not in the trailer, but I'm going to say what happens. What Cloud did is, the second time that he went after Sephiroth impaled him in the chest. So, 3 of the characters actually have been impaled by Sephiroth. Of course, we know what happened to Aerith. No, that's a lie. I'm sorry. The only 2 characters, and then President Shinra, whatever. A lot of people have been impaled, but I'm talking about the main characters. Cloud and Aerith both have been impaled by Sephiroth. The only difference is Cloud lived. He got stabbed in the chest, but it obviously wasn't a killing blow or he'd be gone. And plus he was dying, but Hojo got to him first, so he didn't end up dying. But when he impaled him, instead of, like just dying or screaming for mercy or what normal human beings would do, Cloud was in such a rage. I mean, just lost his mom, as he says in that part in the live stream saying, Mom, Tifa, my town, give it back. Cloud is just in such a rage that he actually pulls himself on the sword and gets leverage, is able to lift Sephiroth off the ground. And it's kind of funny because you would think Sephiroth would just let go of the sword, but I mean, at that point you just have to do like game logic. He was just too shocked at what was going on to let go or something. And then he yeets him into the live stream scene. So that's why Sephiroth and Jenova are part of the live stream scene, is because Cloud in the moment isn't thinking what are the ramifications about throwing Sephiroth and an alien. I don't even think he knows what Jenova is. If he does, I honestly, as I'm thinking about now, I'm still not sure he even knew what Jenova was at that point. Other than just like some weird creature that Shinra was keeping. Yeah, he obviously 16, just lost everything, thought he was going to lose Tifa in a total rage, and he's not thinking about the ramifications of throwing these 2 in the live stream scene, like what it would do. So it's not blaming him at all, but that's what happened. So and for 5 years Sephiroth has slowly been reconstructing himself, and then that's where OG comes into play, Northern Crater, all that. So yeah, so Cloud yeeted Sephiroth before yeeting was a thing. But yeah, and the thing, what's so crazy about it is Cloud's just a 16-year-old grunt in the army. He has no, he hasn't been experimented on. Like, he's had a little bit of experimentation. They basically try to test you to see if you're able to be a soldier, from what I remember, and he couldn't withstand the testing, so they deemed him too weak or whatever, which then of course played more to his insecurities in general. Let's see, Game of the Year, same. I'm hiding from most of the trailers and such. Yeah, definitely don't watch the trailers. But I feel like the ending is going to have an emotional impact on me because I've seen it and I'm a noob to this game. I don't think, see, here's the thing. When you talk about emotional impact, like, for instance, I said, I played Final Fantasy 9 10 times. I mean, I played it so many times and beaten it. But the emotional impact isn't in the shock that a certain character dies. It's watching the sequence unfold. So the emotional impact isn't going to be the shock that Zack dies. The shock is watching how it all unfolds. Not the shock, I'm sorry. The impact is watching it all unfold, because especially when you're actually having to play through it. It's one thing to know it. It's one thing to have a knowledge of it or show a clip of it. It's another thing to literally be playing through his last moments and you're wanting to save him, but there's no way. And they do so, I mean, they just twist the knife. There's so many parts of it. I'm telling you, it's brutal. Yeah, anyway. Tifa to that hit from Sephiroth, it looked like the sword went through her whole body. In the original, yeah, I mean, they're polygons. You can only expect so much. Cloud, that scene always surprised me how much Cloud loves Tifa. No matter all the bad things that happen to them, their feelings always give them new strength to get up. Absolutely, we're going to talk more about that in the shipping portion of this. That trailer gives me chills. I know. Oh yeah, sorry Trixie. Yeah, it's actually an interesting point because, you know, the remake OTs say, both of them say that Zack is dead. Well, the remake OT and the world preview book that's behind me both say Zack is dead. I mean, it's not even a secret. So really the question is, what are we actually looking at when we're looking at chapter 18 and when we're looking at the end of intermission? But it's clear that this Zack being dead thing is not something that they're even caring to find hot girls. I don't know how. Oh my god. Hold on, let me see what this goofball on my YouTube is. Being rated by
so aggravated.
Nope, hold on. Being rated by sex bots or something. I don't know what's going on. Well, I don't even see the comments. That's odd. Maybe it got rid of it for me. I don't know. Okay. No, sorry. I'm getting this thing. Y'all can see it, right? I don't know. I don't see it on my end, so I have no idea. Okay, whatever. Hopefully it stops. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Oh hell, I forgot what I was saying. Sorry, yeah, I lost my train of thought. The sex bot thing caught my eye. Yeah, but the emotional impact is going through it. It's not oh yeah, the Zack being dead thing, sorry. So yeah, so then it makes you wonder, you know, I've been thinking about what Zack's role is going to be in Rebirth exactly, because I mean, you know, you hear wild stuff. He's gonna take over for Cloud. He's gonna, you know, there's gonna be, I don't know. It just I've heard so many speculations about it, you know, and we don't have anything that gives us any concrete evidence about any of them. So, you know, it's just hard to decide what is real and what isn't. But anyway, let's go through this bit by bit. And by the way, I'm not one of those people who's going to be able to tell you, you know, what this feather means explicitly and link it to blah, you know, we're not going that deep. I just want to give a general analysis.
Those wings. I want them too.
The company has decided to eliminate Genesis and his cohorts. This includes Angeal as well.
That sword represents our family's honor.
I see. No wonder.
So, one thing about, I like that they add that because, about the sword. At first, they give you a little bit of plot. You know, you're hunting for Genesis. Genesis and Angeal. And then they go to Angeal's mom and she's talking about the sword. One thing that they laid out in Crisis Core is that this is a unique sword. And that is a very important detail. Whether you're just a casual fan, whether you're just into it, whether you're a theorist or not, it is very important to know that there is only one sword like this. So the fact that Cloud and Zack are both carrying it right now tells you these two things cannot be happening in the same reality.
Become a monster. A monster's objective is usually world domination or revenge.
I told you. You can't live on that side anymore.
Is that Angeal's face?
It appears Genesis isn't the only one who can be copied.
The mysterious gift of the goddess. What is the meaning behind it? For us, at least.
I'm telling you, this song is so good. I love this song. But yeah, so giving you just bits and pieces of the plot. You realize that these two have defected, and you know, Zack's trying to figure out why. They keep talking about being monsters, and so it's definitely from trying to intrigue new fans. I like that about it. Sorry, I'm sitting there looking in the corner over here at these characters that are on the screen. I'll tell y'all why I'm laughing when we get to till we get to these Looney Tune theories about what's going to happen in part 2 as far as the shipping. I really like the new gameplay too.
Those soldier people are kind of weird. They fight. And they love it.
If only I were soldier. Soldier is like a den of monsters. Don't go inside.
Do you remember what I said about our enemy?
Actually, let me go back here. Somebody mentioned this earlier. I don't know who. I see so much stuff on Twitter. I don't know who it was that mentioned it, but I thought this part was interesting.
Those soldier people are kind of weird. They fight. And they love it.
If only I were soldier. Soldier is like a den of monsters. Don't go inside.
Do you remember?
Oh, I love both of those things, but yeah. So when Aerith first meets Zack, she's, you know, for some reason the conversation about soldiers comes up. She doesn't realize he's a soldier at the time, and this is a time where he's really proud to be a soldier and stuff like that. And even though he's starting to see that there's something wrong going on in Shinra, but he's still got that pride about himself being a soldier. And I think he's second class at this point because he doesn't have the sword yet, the Buster Sword. And so she's talking to him unwittingly, unwittingly about her hang-ups about soldiers. And so just a feeling I get off of this trailer, she's kind of hinting like they're kind of monsters, like, you know, they have to kill for a living, and they seem to get a thrill out of it. And then because Aerith is, and I wouldn't, well, okay, let me just forget that. So, and then the very next scene, you see Cloud, you know, upset because he's not a soldier, and he thinks that's the reason he wasn't able to protect Tifa, because what happens right before this, he's trying to protect Tifa, and he gets injured, and Tifa has to help him. So, but she doesn't know it's him, obviously. And so he just keeps thinking, like, I'm not good enough. Nothing she did or said. In fact, she thought it was, you know, like, based on her commentary, she thought it was sweet that this guy, you know, whoever this guy was, tried to protect her. Who she thinks of her as a total stranger. He put his life on the line to protect her, not knowing it's the guy she fell in love with 2 years ago at the water tower. So, but yeah, it just, you know, because Cloud has these insecurities about himself, he looks at Zack as this quintessential, and Sephiroth, he looks at both of them as these ideal, what he would ideally like to be, which is a guy who could protect the woman he loves. That's Cloud's motivation. He sees soldiers as someone who can protect the people they care about, and so he feels like that's the best way to get Tifa's attention, and, you know, etc. Blah blah. But Zack by this point has figured out, because they're in Nibelheim now. This is getting to where the climax of the game is. Zack's like, if you knew what I knew, you wouldn't want to be me. You know. It's just sad. There's so much. There's just so much drama in this game. I know, shy boy Cloud. Oh, he's just a sweetheart. Let me catch up on the comments here. The ones that don't have anything to do with Sex 69. Game Awards coming up. Do you think we'll get a trailer for Rebirth? It's not. You know, I put it at 5%. 5-10%. It's certainly possible, especially since they put out this final trailer here. But then I also think about the fact that the 35th anniversary for the series of Final Fantasy is December 18th, I believe, which is 5 days after this game comes out. I mean, if I'm them, I'm just gonna get all the attention for my game. But at the same time, you know, like, I'm just going to do my own stream. I mean, Square Enix is big enough to where if they announce a stream for a 35th anniversary of Final Fantasy and we've got Rebirth looming over us, they don't need to be part of the Game Awards to get attention. But at the same time, Game Awards is easily one of the biggest you know, like going to get the most views, you know, top 3, top 5 gaming events that are going to get the most views. So I would be shocked if we don't see this trailer at the Game Awards, because it's 5 days before this game comes out. Rebirth is up in the air, but not a 0% chance. I'd say 10%, something like that. I definitely think we'll see Final Fantasy 16. Tifa didn't recognize the busted sword. She isn't forced in that. Yeah, I you know, she only knew Zack for 10 days and only saw him briefly a couple times. I'm not surprised that she didn't immediately, you know, some dude she knew 5 years ago who she didn't like, meant nothing to. By didn't like, I mean, they clearly weren't like into each other. They weren't friends. She was as interested in him as far as like, he seemed like a all right dude, and he may know something about Cloud. So kind of just, you know, outside of that, they seem to have no interest in one another. I mean, Zack flat out calls it weird, which I love. Let's see. His Cloud is a baby. Say what you will about Pierce Christian. Yeah, Pierce. Who was Pierce? Oh, never mind. I was like, who in the world is Pierce? Sorry. I thought you were naming another Cloud voice actor, and I was like, there's nobody named Pierce. What do you say what else? Pixel art. Zach got immediately that there was something between Cloud. Oh yeah, I mean, anybody, you know, look, anybody with 2 eyes see his behavior around Tifa's like, what's going on? Yes, Cody was perfect. Cody is Cloud Strife, period. Tifa wouldn't know the bus sword was uniquely, that's another thing. She would have no idea that this sword is unique to Zack, so she could just as easily think it's, you know, some soldier first class type thing. She's never met another soldier first class other than Sephiroth, and he's a great war hero. He can use whatever sword he wants to. He doesn't have to have it, you know, like he's like this star of Shinra, essentially, this golden child. So they're not gonna make him use one sword versus another. Yeah. Anyway.
Remember what I said about our enemy being all that creates suffering? But I created my own suffering.
You want to do something to me, eh? But then, who will stop Genesis and Angeal's degradation?
Yeah, so he's like supposed to be basically the bad guy scientist in this. You know, kind of the Hojo light of Crisis Core. And so what he's kind of hinting at, without giving everything away, but Angeal and Genesis, they're mad because, you know, like, so the soldiers that are degrading, they've got their cells. The ones that are fine are the ones that have Sephiroth cells. But yeah, they're basically rapidly aging, and they're dying, and they're pissed off, and anybody would be. So
if this world seeks my destruction, it goes with me.
I love that part because it immediately reminded me of Kuja. Kuja has sort of a similar, again, spoiler alert for Final Fantasy IX. Kuja has a similar moment when he's told by Garland that he's gonna die because he was only built to live like 24, 25 years, and he's that age basically. So any moment now he could die, and so he has a moment like, well, if I've gotta die, we all gotta die. Yeah. And so that's what that reminded me of. But this is one of my favorite parts of the trailer right here. I love this line from Sephiroth.
Am I a human being?
Look at his face. He just like, oh my god, like the realization is pouring over him that, you know, first he's watched his friends turn and one of them's gone, and then, you know, and then he's coming to this realization that, oh my god, I'm a monster too. I mean, in their eyes, you know. And then, oh man, it's gonna be so incredible seeing Nibelheim burn. Now, is that somebody laying on the ground behind Zack? Or is that just rubble and stuff? I can't even tell. But anyway, sorry. It's gonna be so wild. First off, we're gonna get, what's great about Crisis Core Reunion is we're gonna get to see a lot of these places ahead of time, ahead of Rebirth. Now, I imagine they will be greatly expanded specifically for Rebirth for, you know, whatever the side missions and just whatever the general things that's going to be happening in Rebirth. So, whereas this is just tailored towards whatever originally happened in Crisis Core. So, but it's still going to be nice to see a much more updated version of these places. And then it'll be fun to see what they change between Crisis Core and Rebirth as it comes out. I don't say on Zach's voice. We see so many critics. Yeah, that's a whole other story, and I don't know the full story, but there's apparently there's controversies on two levels. One, that they changed them at all, and they're just, I learned this a long time ago when I got into anime. There are some people who just, they hate change, and I agree, because when they changed the cast of Sayuki as an example, when it went to a different company and they changed the cast, the new cast, and no offense to them as voice actors, but they were horrible matches for the cast of Sayuki. So you got some people who just hate the fact that it was changed. They got used to that particular voice. They love that voice. And then you have people, there is some actual genuine controversies around the person himself. So it's one thing like the voice, whether you like the change in the voice, whether you like the voice itself, and then whether the person themselves has some controversies. And so all three seem to be at play here. That's why there's so much drama happening. But I honestly don't know enough about it. Next time I have Monk on the stream, because we're planning on doing a Zach-centric stream sometime after, just a heads up, sometimes after things settle down after the holidays, probably would be more realistic. But definitely after we get through playing Crisis Core Reunion. We're going to do a full Zach stream where we go into all the speculations and theories we've seen as far as what could be happening. What is his role going to be in Rebirth? So, but yeah, we could definitely address that. I think she thought of Tifa. That's the only girl's Cloud's age she knew. Yeah, Claudia. So somebody asked about just like we'll see Claudia. Whoever does Claudia. Oh, okay. However, who does Claudia think Cloud should be with? Very good question. So, well, let me finish this. Don't just remind me about 5 minutes. I'll address that first when we get to the shipping portion. I just want to finish this out.
Soldier, that's you.
Now, of course, well, actually, I'll talk about the shirt thing when we just get into the drama going on in the fandom right now.
I hate you all.
Sephiroth! Why did you kill the townspeople? Why did you hurt Tifa? Answer me, Sephiroth!
Ah! I love him stroking her face. It is so freaking amazing. I played the original, but again, it came out in 2007. It's 2022. I've watched the gameplay multiple times, but I have not watched it in about half a year or so at this point. So, and I did that on purpose, like I said earlier in the stream, because I want this game to feel fresh when I play it. So there's a lot of little details here and there that I have. Yeah, sorry, rolled on the floor. I can't help but scream every time I see the scene. Cloud is so loving her, and I love that he sees Sephiroth coming. In his next part, he sees Sephiroth coming, and he just charges at him. He's like, Cloud is like, I will sooner die right here than let you near Tifa again. And it's just so romantic. I mean, I wouldn't let my 16-year-old go charging after Sephiroth, but I wasn't there. He don't belong to me, so But yeah, Cloud really does have this hero nature inside of him. It's just a shame that he couldn't, and just this, there is this really brave side of Cloud that I don't even think he recognizes a lot of time. Because like Cloud don't give a damn. I mean, he's just running. He's jumping off a building. He's chasing Tifa off of buildings and stuff. He's jumping in like big whispers are coming after Tifa. He's just running in. He's got no fear whatsoever. Like when Tifa's in trouble, he's just blinded to everything. He's like, I'm either gonna save her or I'm dying right here. Period. I don't think Cloud has a fear of death at all. I mean, he's pretty brave. He's pretty fearless. But the way he sees himself does not match who he actually is. So that's why this is also a great moment where the face caress. But that's why this is a great moment, because like I said, even though he's been lamenting himself this whole time, lamenting about how he wasn't good enough, he wasn't strong enough, and blah blah blah, because of what happened with Tifa on the mountain and that he couldn't save her that day. He doesn't even really recognize, like, you just a 16-year-old grunt, and you like, realistically, or I'm saying all bets, if you had to bet on who would win that fight, you'd be a fool to bet against Sephiroth. And this Sephiroth has been fighting at a world-class level for years. You know, I mean, he is the strongest person on the planet. Cloud should be dead. Okay, but there is a part of Cloud that is such a survivor, and he's so tactful in battle and stuff like that. And frankly, a lot of it also has to do with Sephiroth cannot let go of his ego. He cannot let go of hubris. And so he sees this little scrawny kid coming at him. He's like, whatever. And, you know, he effed around and found out, as they said. Now, Cloud would have died. Yeah, now that's a different story. I'm saying he should have died in that battle. I mean, he should have been gone. He shouldn't have even had the chance to kill Sephiroth, but he did. So even if he had died that day, he took out Sephiroth. But I love this. But yeah, I just love that fearlessness in Cloud when it comes to protecting the people that he cares about, particularly Tifa. He's just like, it is what it is. One or both of us are gonna die today. You know what I mean?
Sephiroth!
I love people making fun of that jump. You know, I don't know why people are surprised by this jump. To be, Cloud is doing Cloud is doing gravity-defying jumps in every part. I mean, having children, he's cutting through buildings. He's practically flying in the air. That old Bahamut scene was absolutely ludicrous. And I love the movie. I'm just saying, but if you really look at it, you're like, this is impossible. Like, even for a video game, this is impossible. Yeah, this is total anime stuff happening here. And then, what's so funny is they need grappling guns to do certain things in Remake. But then Cloud jumps like 90 feet in the air when in chapter 1, when that little bridge that him and Jesse are running over breaks, and Jesse calls out to him. He jumps like 90 feet in the air and lands on his feet. He's like, what just happened? I know, this is crazy.
The army's mobilizing. Find the targets before they do. I want them alive. You hear me?
Roger.
All right, let's get going.
Will I see you again?
Hey.
Oh, I hate that. Man, they are really pulling at the heartstrings with that line. Because he promises to see Aerith again, and then he never does. It is just so heartbreaking. Aerith, I'm telling you, I almost wish that they had kept her original design, because, like, I love that dress on her. And she is stacked right here. I mean, am I lying or am I lying? Like, I was like, dang, Aerith, all right, girl. I see you. Oh, if only Zach could have seen 22-year-old Aerith.
Out. I have to go to Midgar.
Though you'll never convince me that they weren't doing anything in that church, but that's a story for another day. I'm gonna stop being myself. I'm gonna let that one alone. Oh, man. Oh, Cody's scream is so good. How would Tifa react if she listens to Cloud's real stories? You mean like what actually happened to him and all that? I'm sure at some point he tells her. There really just is no time to be delving into well, you know, because Cloud doesn't realize himself until a week before the world is ending. I mean, the world's about to end. And then they're trying to figure out a way to, you know, so there's just a lot going on. But one thing that is never going to make any sense to me is they do have this, scene. Oh, sorry. So what leads up to the Highwind scene? Cloud makes a speech basically, and he says there's 7 days left. So what the hell were they doing for 7 days? I've said that over and over, but I'm hoping that they clarify that timeline, because are you telling me that Cloud and Tifa were alone for a week? Or are you telling me that maybe it took some time to get the other people where they were going, and so maybe they had 3 or 4 days together? But I think what they're going to do is expand that. We're going to get to see a lot of what each party member was doing, and we're gonna I could even, that this is headcanon territory, I could see Cloud and Tifa traveling to the places that mean something to them. I mean, you're talking about it's not cancer, but you're dying, you know what I mean? Like, 7 days, this is it. So I could see them going to Medill, because Cloud and Tifa had the same life map. What I mean by life map is, in the 10th anniversary Ultimania, they give three locations that mean something to each character. Cloud and Tifa's are the exact same. Medill, Nibelheim, Midgar. Nibelheim, where they were born, also happens to be where Sephiroth was born, and that's one of his points. Midgar, where they were reunited, and also have other meanings to them, but as far as the meaning between them, that's where they were reunited. FF7MC. New Crisis game announced. What the? Send me a link if you don't mind on Twitter, and I'll pull it up. Crisis Core MC. Yeah, because I don't want to. Yeah, just send me a DM and I'll look at it. Okay. But yeah, and then Medill, where Cloud was essentially kind of reborn. So I could see them visiting those locations, things that mean something to them. And then having that moment with the High Wind when Tifa finally decides to confess her feelings, and because she already knows Cloud's, and then they return feelings, and they play Yahtzee all night, or whatever people want to think. And then the rest of the trailer is just, leading up to Zack's death. It's just, man, it's going to be brutal. It is going to be brutal. And I am not looking forward to it at all. At all. I am so confused. Is this a joke, or is there actually another game coming out? Because you wasted my time. You cracking me up. That was like another Crisis Core game. I don't know. MC, that's hilarious. I was thinking I was sitting there thinking like an MC, I was like, is this a new singing guy? That's hilarious. Yeah, Cloud, Tifa, yeah, that's another thing, and that's something we're going to parse in another stream. I'll get into Tifa's thing too, because there's so many liars around, a lot of them know the truth. A lot of them have been manipulated into believing something that's not true. But people do not, people who are detractors of Tifa because of this whole Lion and Cloud thing, not only do they have the story wrong, but they see absolutely no irony in the fact that Aerith lies to this man from the second she meets him. And they got no issue with that. I mean, from the second she meets him, she's lying to him. The fact that she doesn't even tell him that she was in love with Zack and, hey, I'm looking at you and you remind me of him, that's a lie of omission. But that's perfectly fine. But Tifa isn't sure what to do because she has no idea that the man she's in love with has been taken over by a damn alien from outer space. And she's an unworthy bitch who deserves to never have love because because she didn't know how to solve Cloud's issue, that she had no idea what even the origin of it was. Whatever. Okay, let me not get salty. All right, so love the new Zereth. And by the way, I want to give out a shout out to Sim Tubler. Let me make sure I got that right. She does excellent GIFs and edits. She did this edit for me, that's why it looks so crisp. This picture on my background, it is super freaking amazing. But yes, her Twitter handle is SIMNES Tumblr. So check her out for sure. Great girl, funny as hell. She always has me laughing. Very sweet, and she does great edits. And she made this graphic for Cloud and Tifa She enhanced what we get out of the game. I'm sorry, out of the trailer. And look how amazing that looks. So definitely give her a shout out. She is super, super amazing. And also, so you know, she uploaded a GIF for the new face caress. So she says, just look up Cloudy CCR and it should come up. So that's super cool. We will be using that a ton. Awesome. Yeah, you're not going to get a ton of Cloudy or Cloud or Tifa, let alone Cloudy, in Crisis Core, but it's just the few scenes they have together, like, you do get the impression that Cloud has this longing for Tifa that's so sweet, and it's just so sad that he didn't have enough confidence in himself to realize that had he just taken the helmet off, the girl was madly in love with him. See, all he had to do was just take the helmet off. But when you love a slow burn ship, like, that's part of the thrill, though. Like, even though it's super frustrating in a moment, that payoff is so good. And so just knowing that eventually they exchange mutual feelings and make love under the stars, and they go on to build a family together. And yeah, they have a couple difficulties here and there, but you see how happy they are at the end of having children, and, you know, so cute with their kids and stuff. And then, you know, you see, you know, Tifa smiling from ear to ear and dirt to Cerberus. So I don't know what Cloud did for her that morning, but it worked. And then they're still together a year after that, because in case of Denzel, he talks about Cloud and Tifa. And so it's just super, super, super sweet. I love it. And I can't wait to get post, you know, like case of Denzel stuff for Cloud and Tifa. Because I guarantee by the time part 3 ends and you have their love culminate into this beautiful relationship, you know, down like by the time part 3 ends, it is going to be Cloudy and Xerath fever. Like, first off, it's going to be Xerath fever like crazy after Rebirth, and then you're going to get Cloudy fever all throughout part 3, because a lot of the advertising as well for part 3 is going to be Cloudy centered. You're going to, in all likelihood, you'll be starting off as Tifa as party leader or about to be party leader, and they're on the search for Cloud, and you're going to get a lot of monologuing from Tifa and stuff like that. And her, the only thing she cares about at that moment is Cloud. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's just going to be so, God, I can't wait. So yeah, that's all I really want to say about the Cloudy part. And then Xerath, man, it's, I'm glad that even though we're going to have to go through the heartache of seeing these two, you know, they say their promise to see each other again. And it's cute because Zach's 17. He's a boy, whatever. He's a 17-year-old boy. And he's like, well, let's make some promises to each other. Like, on our next date, you'll wear pink. You know, just a little simple idea, whatever. It's juvenile, but it's like, oh, it's cute. And she's like, oh, don't be silly. And then just to know that she really did she's still wearing this bow. And by the way, they did redesign that bow because certain people kept saying that it wasn't the same bow. And SC was like, oh, really? I got something for you. So yeah, she really, and another thing people notice about the bow is the color is a little bit different in Remake. Now that could just be a matter of this, you know, just a matter of the different games. The color is not going to be the exact same between two different games, especially, you know, created at two different times. Color may be off for sure. I mean, Tifa's eyes look brown in Crisis Core Reunion. So that's not in and of itself evidence of anything. But the bow does appear to be lighter in Remake, which would be indicative of something that she wears a lot, especially if she's been wearing it for 5 years waiting for Zach to return. That is super bittersweet. I just love that. But yeah, and she's still wearing pink to this day. I'm so glad that they're finally going to get their reunion because they deserve it. And yeah, it may be in death, you know. And yeah, that's a bummer. In a perfect world where it wasn't tied to the story so much that I personally just, I can't see a way for them to live and not ruin big parts of the story. In a perfect world, yeah, I'd love for them to reunite in life and, be able to travel the world and do stuff like that. It'd be super sweet. But either way, it is at least a bit of a happy ending for me, because at least they're together no matter which way it happens. So I'm so excited for them. Now, let me catch up on the comments. So, yeah, I wish I could play Rebirth. I sure wish I could play Rebirth too. Cloud made her limit break to to follow heaven. Absolutely. Hey, Lacey. How you doing, girl? Aerith never moves on from Zack. She pretends and tries. Yeah, and that's what the thing. I think people are really mistaken. Since we're talking about it, let's talk about it. People are mistaking what people like us are saying when we say Aerith has not moved on from Zack. Nobody is saying Aerith is banned from moving on from Zack. We demand that she never move on from Zack. If Aerith at the end of the remake trilogy is alive and Zack is gone, I'm trying to put this in a way where I'm not going to accidentally offend certain shippers who may just be into this dynamic. For me, it just seems cruel. Even as much as I love Xerath, it would just seem cruel to me as someone who has genuinely grown to become a fan of hers, for me to damn her to a life of just longing, of never being able to move on because I love the fact that she loved this guy 5 years ago. That just doesn't seem right to me. I don't like that idea. So, of course, she's 22. I mean, if she were 82, then maybe we're having a conversation. You know what I mean? Okay, if you just want to live out your next 10 years on your own. I mean, you're at the end of, the road there. I certainly could understand, especially if you've been with somebody. You see stories all the time. People have been together 40, 50 years, and then one dies and the other one dies a month later and stuff like that. Like, that is a real phenomenon. People really do die of broken hearts and stuff like that. Not knocking that at all. But if Aerith's 22, at some point, I want her to move on. And it's not just about her, of course. Like I say over and over again, it's a shame that SE has not bothered to give Barrett a love interest after all this time. It's been like 8 years since, like 8 years, a decade. It's been a long time. And he's a young man. They've saved the world already. He deserves some companionship too. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he's sitting around talking about, he isn't running around mimicking his dead wife's behavior and stuff. You know what I'm saying? He clearly has gotten past it. So I hope at one point when we get some far in the future anime series or something like that around it, they actually get this man a love interest. But anyway, so yeah, we're not saying we refuse to let her move on. What we're saying is she hasn't. Those are two different things. Nobody is over a guy and then sees a guy who reminds her of said guy she was in love with, and she asks him, and she's, in fact, because they hate when you bring up remake and, whatever, it's a copy of Cleric and blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, let's talk about OG. This hot guy just fell through your roof. You asked him on a date. You bothered to follow him in the middle of the night and ambush him and jump out the bushes on him. Like, you're clearly trying to pursue him. And when you get him alone in a park, the only thing you want to talk about is what he was in Soldier. Like, what was his position of Soldier, and how it reminds you of your first boyfriend. If this is the date, who amongst us would be on a first date and what the person wants to talk about is how something about you is just like the guy or girl they were in love with a long time ago. People do not bring these things up on first dates. It's bad date etiquette. I mean, it's like date etiquette 101. Don't bring up the ex, let alone the ex you never got over. I mean, that's insane. Okay. She can't help it. He is still on her mind, and whether she maybe suppressed the feelings at some point, and I'm sure she did, just survival mode, honestly. The man never came back. She never got closure. She doesn't know what happened. She's probably thought of 1,000 reasons why he never came back. Then this guy comes up and it hits her all over again. Not to be a Debbie Downer, but I went somewhere the other day and I did a double check because this guy looked just like my friend who had died a few years ago. I mean, it was like hauntingly similar. And for a second, I forgot. I was like, what the? And so sometimes you just see somebody that, you know, even if it's suppressed feelings, you see somebody that will remind you of somebody you lost or something like that. And that feeling will overtake you again, those feelings that you had. So yeah, I wanted to go, like, part of me for a split second wanted to go up and tell him, like, oh, you look just like my friend that died. But that's creepy. That's weird. Hey, you look just like my dead friend. You know what I'm saying? that is odd. I mean, that's not normal behavior. So yeah, Eric bringing up this guy that she has no idea Cloud even knew, and, you know, like, and she's talking to him about it. Cloud's just sitting there like, oh, okay, were you serious? You know, just trying to think of something to say. Yeah, and then she brings up how every time she brings up Zack and OG, she brings up the fact that something about Cloud reminds her of Zack. I mean, this is not, again, we're not building rocket ships out here. We're not putting a man on the moon. We're not curing cancer. This is a story that was written for teenagers. And yes, there is a lot of complexity to it. And there are a lot of, you know, there's a lot of nuance in the way that the characters are portrayed versus what the reality of the character is and stuff like that. They break a lot of ground with this game. But the relationships are not hard to follow at all. I mean, especially when you have developers telling you, yeah, Aerith is reminded of Zack through Cloud. They say it over and over. They show it over and over. Nojima flat out said, before Zack even existed, the whole point of what that character represented was that Aerith was supposed to be reminded of whoever X character was in this part of her life. She was supposed to be reminded of him through Cloud. That alone tells you right there, Clarith was not ever meant to be canon. The point of the relationship was she's reminded of her first love, and then there's some plot related stuff that I can go into about, you know, because it is a fated meeting between Cloud and Aerith, because it's what drives her to finally find the courage to leave Midgar. I mean, there's a, you know, this, but again, like I said, like, the love motivations of these characters is not that deep. It's pretty, you know, the first love you lost and then you see him in another person. That's pretty plain. Okay. Yeah, anyway, I'm sorry, rambling on. Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up, because it is not about us not wanting her to ever, you know, we're unlike them. We're not looking for Eric to sit around for 80 years miserable, waiting to die to reunite with some guy she knew for 3 weeks. Okay, that's, I personally don't want that for her, but everybody's welcome to do whatever they want to. Wish I can play Rebirth. Right now, I can't remember. I should go read it again. If I'm not mistaken, Case of Tifa scene where, yeah, it does. Yeah, Joker, you're right. The scene when Cloud is happy to start a new life with Tifa, it happens a few weeks after Aerith's death. You are absolutely right. In fact, you're like literally right, because it was literally a few weeks. That scene actually happens. I didn't realize until I did the book club, and that's why I'm so glad I did that book club. And if y'all haven't seen that series, I really recommend in your free time listening to it. I'm going to try to condense each one at some point to make it a little more manageable, because those streams got pretty long. They got to like 2-3 hours long, because you have multiple people talking, you know, and it gets, and then I just talk in general too much. So I really will try to find time to do that and make a more condensed version so people can get the highlights. But that scene actually happens the day of the final battle, because Tifa is looking out at what she says is a soon to be ruins of Midgar. That means Midgar has not been destroyed yet, which means it happens before they defeat Sephiroth. And before Sephiroth is even in the ground, Cloud is sitting there lovingly staring out into the, you know, the world and telling Tifa how he can start his life anew because he has her. So Aaron, his lover, died 2 weeks ago in his arms, and he's damn near doing another love confession to Tifa, all smiles. She looked at him, she was like, Cloud, you're smiling. He's like, I am. That's how happy he was. He didn't even notice that he was smiling. So I'm just saying. Anyway, I get animated when I talk about shipping, because it is just so ridiculous that this is a 25-year battle. 26 now. May not get a PS5 but I may not get a PS5 till the PS6 comes out. Yeah. Oh, so you still don't have a PS5? Oh, we get a quick turnaround for part 3. And you know what? That isn't a bad, that's possible because COVID slowed down a lot of stuff. So that's definitely possible. Let's see. Who had the question about Cloud's mom? Cloud's mom. Thank you, Charles. Okay. Cloud's mom. What's interesting is now it has been some retconning around that dream. And that's even more damning when you think about whether the dream is about Cloud. I'm sorry, but what about Tifa or Aerith? In the original, from what I remember, she just says, you need an older girl who, something like that. It's kind of a vague statement, and she doesn't. It's a lot vaguer. And if I remember correctly, she does not make the analogy about the village girl versus the city girl in the original. And now, Japanese fans of the game have said the word she uses actually is more older type. So not literal age, but just like mature. That's what they mean. Mature, older sister type person. And then the Ultimania leaves it as an open question. Like, is Claudia talking about a girl like Aerith? And they leave it as a question mark. And what's so funny about this stuff is because I've noticed a pattern where the Ultimanians will make explicit statements confirming Cloud and Tifa, like Cloud's feelings for Tifa, Tifa's feelings for Cloud, their mutual feelings for each other. They'll make explicit, concrete statements. Implicit and explicit, but the point is they're making statements. With the Cloud and Air stuff, there are a lot of things where they just leave it like in the open. So for instance, the whole thing where Kate says you're going to lose something important to you. It says, it could be talking about Aerith, or it could be talking about basically like his identity, his self. So they ended with, basically implying, they're talking about him losing himself, not losing Aerith. I mean, of course, Aerith's something important. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying people take what Kate said as meaning it only to be about Aerith. That's not what it's about. It's about Cloud losing his identity, which is when he actually snaps, which the game shows you. And then also, like I said, with this dream thing, it leaves it as an open question. So what they've retconned is, in the dream now, she makes an analogy saying, city girls are tempting. You need to find you a girl who's, again, it says older, but it's supposed to say older type, mature. A girl who's mature, who, can keep you out of trouble, lead you and let you know when you're being a silly goose, when you're dilly-dallying, essentially. And so that analogy, and I didn't catch this myself initially, because what's so great about it is they fool you from the second it happens. Just the fact that it happens in Aerith's house, your mind immediately assumes that not that Claudia is talking about Aerith, she never knew her, but that the dream is alluding to a girl like Aerith. But when you actually parse out what the analogy is, for one, like I said, this is at a time where Tifa is a village girl. She's not a city girl. So, and Cloud has just went to Midgar. She's warning him of tempting city girls. Now, why would she warn him of tempting city girls and then be talking about a girl who grew up in the city almost her entire life? That's nonsensical. And even I didn't catch that, so I'm not knocking anybody who didn't catch it. I ain't catch it initially. And then not only does the analogy point to Tifa, there is an actual Cloudy song playing in the background that my friend Jedi Jenna and some other people they called too. A Tower of Promise is actually playing in the background. Is particularly if you listen to the portion where Cloud wakes up, you can see what almost looks like the Nibelheim. Tifa the Monk called this what looks like the Nibelheim sky, the Night of the Promise. It sort of looks like that, his eye does. And then, like I said, a Tower of Promise is playing in the background. And what is the first thing it is? When he gets up, he jumps up and is trying to run home to Tifa. And then, just to put the final nail in the coffin, because Nojima apparently is petty with these people, he then created a scene inside of Tracer 2 Pass, which also points to that dream being about. And sorry, I know I'm completely deviating from Crisis Core Reunion, but I did want to answer the question because it's important. In Tracer 2 Pass, Claudia realizes that Cloud has feelings for Tifa. They don't say it explicitly, but it's implied because she realizes that Cloud only told Tifa that he was going to be a soldier. And so the bells were ringing in Claudia's head, and she kept trying to fish for information from Tifa, like, is that right? Huh? I see, you know? And then Tifa finally caught on that she had no idea what she was talking about. And so the conversation got awkward, and they mentioned that and stuff. But yeah, and that conversation that she has in that dream happens pretty much right after that conversation she has with Tifa, like a couple of days or whatever later. So she's obviously trying to point Cloud in Tifa's direction. Anyway, I'm sorry for my 5-10 minute going on something else. Okay. Yeah, y'all are just having... yes, I did say Claudia. Hey, Walt, what's up? Didn't Claire Pure say that Aerith loved Cloud more? Oh, good Lord. Yeah. Well, you know, oh, Lord. I'm trying to think of what the controversies were. But before we do that, I did want to show some other things that they had for us recently. Let me see. Brave Exvius. So Monday, what's so funny is first, I knew this was going to be a good week because first they dropped this. They dropped this this is from Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. They show Zack saying the price of freedom, and the last DMW that he gets before he dies is like basic. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but the point is, if you've seen the end of Crisis Core, like right before he dies, you understand what this scene means. But it's not just that too. You can get 3 Aeriths like just randomly. It's kind of a jackpot thing. It's almost like the Kate Sith thing, if that makes sense. I mean, I think that's actually what it's based on. Yeah, DMW. So his whole animation for Brave Exvius is totally Xerath. And they even have the reunion flower. And I love that part. I love that detail because I've been saying for years that I think that flower has a double meaning. And when I was doing that gardening series, I said it in that too. The video should still be up there, I'm pretty sure. But I said that I think that has a double meaning because, of course, she hands it to Cloud. Cloud hands it to Tifa. That has a meaning for them. But the fact that she's carrying around flowers that mean reunion, and she's wearing pink for Zack, and she's wearing that ribbon that Zack bought her, that says to me that, you know, like they're that maybe she's hoping one day when she's reunited with Zack to give it to him. And then also they did a little animation, a little vision card in Brave Exvius for Xerath. Shoot. Okay, here we go. So this is so cute. It looks like they slowed it down so you can see everything that's going on. But she's picking out oh my gosh, she's picking out the ribbon that she wants. And then, so basically this is a scene where he buys her the ribbon. This is Zack's vision card in Brave Exvius. Now, no, Brave Exvius is not canon to the story of Final Fantasy VII, but the scenes out of it are based off of it, if that makes sense. So he's putting the bow on her head. Look at her giggling as she poses for him. She is so adorable. So that's super cute. They did all that on Monday. And then there was some other things like we got a couple cloudy drops I can show you. What's super cute is so Tifa. This is all stuff related to Tifa. If you notice here, where it says trust, y'all can't see my mouse, but in the top left here of under the word equip, it says Avalanche member Tifa, usable when equipping Promise from Childhood or Crescent Moon Charm. Now, Promise from Childhood is a weapon, I think, and Crescent Moon Charm is an accessory. What's interesting about the Crescent Moon Charm, both of these are related to Cloud. So obviously the Promise is related to Cloud, but the Crescent Moon Charm is related to Cloud. Why? Because the charm only works if Cloud and Tifa are wearing them together. If they're wearing them together, then they are, I believe, now I'm going off of things other people show me just over time, so I believe I'm remembering this correctly. When they both have it equipped, it wards them from charm, I think, or something like that. I think it's warding them from charm of which is, I guess, an attack, because you see this throughout different Final Fantasies, but it's just super cute because they have to be wearing them together in order for it to work. And then they have, so for ACC Tifa, they have this, which is Children's Substitute Mother. Now, that's clearly talking about Denzel and Marlene, right? Well, they go even further. Look at these. Look at these traits. Affection for Marlene, affection for Denzel, affection for Cloud. The Strife family, in other words. Now, again, not canon to the story of Final Fantasy VII, but clearly based off the story of Final Fantasy VII. And then here, yeah, another trait, Promise with Cloud. Yeah, I guess it's a trait as opposed to a weapon, or maybe it's both. I don't know, or maybe it's a trait based off of the weapon. So I've never played the game. Oh, and then I love this trait too, Freed Heart, because Tifa's whole thing is she has a locked heart. So you have the Freed Heart here, and this is ACC Tifa. So now they're together and they're happy. They got their family, and so her heart has been freed. I just love that. Whew, okay. Now I'm done gushing about this stuff. All right, so do y'all want to hear about... I'm trying to think about the dramas that were going on in the fandom, and then we'll end it there because I'm hungry. And I've got an important thing to do tomorrow. So let's see. Cloud was putting that thing on. Sure was. He gonna put it on her again under that high one in 4K. But I'm oh, you said that earlier. Sorry, that clearly caught my eye. Oh, you can't see my cursor. Okay, cool. All this Clarith and Zareth. I'm a ship Zack and Tifa. Hey, look, I'm still a fan of Zifa fan art. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love black on black hair. Yeah, I know. Yeah, people who think that Claudia ships her son with a girl like Aerith should go retrace the two paths. They said it's just, again, it fooled me initially too. I didn't think it was indicative, and I still don't think, this dream, what Claudia wanted for Cloud automatically means that's what's gonna happen. I mean, what's funny about it is they used to obsess over this dream. Now they hate it. Or they just ignore the fact that there's a Cloudy song to play in the background. But Elmira didn't want Cloud to be with Aerith, and yet they don't see any, they're like, well, what do they care what that bitch got to say about it? We want them together. And my point being is that if Cloud is going to choose who he wants to choose. I mean, this, will he take his mother's opinion on it? Sure. But he never met Aerith. It was 5 years ago. He's not going to live his life based on some random conversation he had, some cryptic conversation he had with his mom 5 years ago. You know what I mean? So I still hold that belief. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me. But the fact that they bothered to retcon the dream and throw a Cloudy song in there and put something depicting that Claudia knew what was up between her and Cloud. They decided to throw Nojima, not just anybody. Nojima decided to throw all that in there to point it all towards Cloudy. That does say something. The dream itself doesn't say something, but the fact that they would do this, and by record I mean the dialogue that's in the actual scene. The fact that they would bother to do all that pointing to Tifa, that's not for nothing. It's all I'm saying. Yeah, what else? Okay, so speaking of Tifa, this whole thing with her outfit, my thoughts on it if you want to know about the black shirt. First off, I didn't even notice it initially. And this is where I'm going to rant a bit, because this has been the big drama ever since, this has been a drama ever since it dropped. Hey Helsinki Kiki. What's up? Thank you so much. Nice to see you. And thank you for everybody who's joined so far. Love y'all. Appreciate it. Okay, so first off, I didn't even notice the black thing. 2, she's 15 at the end of the day. I mean, I thought her outfit was fine the way it was. If they decide for some random reason to cover up one outfit that we're going to see, like, not all, I don't care. I mean, I personally just don't care. The only reason I'm bringing it up, and I'm not saying other people shouldn't care, I'm just saying I don't, really. The only problem I had with it is that it didn't look like the highest quality of renders. So I'm hoping that the actual in-game looks a little better than what we saw in that little still shot. My problem is a couple things. One, there is this part of fandom, just a bunch of horny people who are way too obsessed with whether a 15-year-old's chest is being covered or not. I mean, like, oh my God, like, why did they cover him up? It's like, you're making me uncomfortable. So that. I think we all can agree there. Second part is this whole idea that she's been censored from people who are not creepers, but just in general, like, why does it seem like they're almost trying to body shame Tifa by covering her up? One, I'm not even sure until we actually see Rebirth trailers where they're going to show portions of, they will show something out of the Calm incident or something out of it. In all likelihood, we will see Cowgirl Tifa out of those. Okay. Oh, thanks. We will likely see Cowgirl Tifa again before Rebirth comes out. If she's still covered up, then yeah, that's just a design decision that they made, and maybe they thought it was, in hindsight, maybe they thought it was inappropriate. I don't think so. I don't personally care. But if that's their decision, it's one out. I mean, it's just like a little black thing. Who cares? I'm sorry, not who cares. I don't care. It's a very minor change. Just it means nothing to me. But I do say that, yeah, they shouldn't. I definitely understand the concern, though, that they are like possibly trying to body shame people, like, because, and I've told this before, and this is not about to make it racial. I'm just telling you the reality of, growing up in public school system. There were a lot of outfits or a lot of things that girls with a certain figure could wear that girls who didn't, and generally were black and brown girls who on the average had more hips, more butt, more, chest and stuff like that, could wear the same outfit, but it's deemed inappropriate if this girl is wearing it versus if this girl is wearing it. So, and we have an example of this, by the way, in the game. So there is that concern that, like, we don't want to be giving kids, and I'm just talking about a societal issue, this is a video game, but this is in general, the way that we view girls, women, and how they should and shouldn't dress and stuff like that. You don't want to give young girls the impression that just by having a body type that you do, that there's something wrong with it, because now we feel the need to cover you up. Feel the need to do this like puritanical thing where we cover you up, and because it also kind of feeds into, I can't say the word on here because it might get, but I'm talking about our PE culture type stuff. It's not that boys should be taught how to behave themselves around women, girls and women, no matter what they are wearing. It's that women need to, it's the woman's fault. It's the woman's burden or the girl's burden to not do certain things or dress certain ways or say certain things that are going to entice somebody to do something to them or to view them a certain way. How about you just be a decent human being and not do those things? You know what I mean? So you don't want to feed into that. So I understand that concern, but I still think people are taking it over the top. I mean, again, it's a little black undershirt. And what's cute about it, in fact, is that it actually matches, somebody pointed this out, Queen Saba did. Queen Saba. And I'll find her tweet real quick, but she actually pointed this out. Or what is it? Sorry, I can never remember anybody's handle at all. Sheba. I'll find it. But it actually, if you look at her new design, the Crisis Core, it actually matches Cloud's top during the Night of the Promise. So just like how they redesigned Tifa to where she has that black undershirt showing and then that white shirt, and it on the Night of the Promise, Cloud is wearing the exact same pattern. He has a black undershirt that you can see a long sleeve, and then he has a white shirt over it. And they seem to have followed that pattern too there. So that's super cute. They got yet another matching outfit. Now my main problem, and this is where I'm going to get real ranty. So I want everybody to buckle up. There might be a few curse words flying, so cover your ears. Yeah, Queen of Sheba. Yeah, sorry. And she has different names in different places. So I always call her Saba, but it's Queen of Sheba. I get confused every time. Pretty sure it's Queen of Sheba, something like that. I'll find it. But anyway, yeah. So this is my main gripe with this whole thing, and I'm going to speak to Auntie specifically. I'm not falling for it. Okay. Unfortunately, too many of us, including myself in the past, keep falling for this okie doke that they pull. I've said the credence, there are people who care about the way that female characters are portrayed in video games and whether or not we're feeding into the wrong types of things when we cover or don't cover up, when you're talking about young girls and things like that. Those are valid criticisms. What's not valid? You have to be able to spot who's giving a valid criticism or a valid concern and who is ill-motivated. These people, I'm not talking about one-offs, one outfit here, one outfit there, this and that. These people who have a consistent refrain that Tifa's an over-sexualized character who was created for the male gaze, and she was only created for fan service, and she doesn't have anything worthy outside of her body, and men only want her for her body, and she always wants to show off her body, and has a critique about every single outfit that she wears and how over-sexualized it is, how inappropriate it is, hates the designs of her, everything she wears. Understand, it has nothing to do with Tifa's clothing. They don't like Tifa. And I'll tell you why I know that. You go, again, these same people who always got something to say about every single thing that Tifa does and wears or whatever, every single detail, blah, blah, and always want to make it some faux feminist argument, because it's faux feminism. I understand that. It's faux feminism. If you ask all of them that you come across, hey, who do you ship? I guarantee Clarith. It's not about Tifa's clothes for them. And again, there are valid criticisms in general. For them, it's not about Tifa's clothing. She could come out in a burqa, she could come out in a nun's outfit. She could come out in a potato sack. They are going to find something to criticize about it, and they will find some way to either say she's over-sexualized or they'll say, well, see, the fact that they changed her outfit means that they knew that it was too sexy because that's all they do to Tifa and blah, blah. She was only created for the male gaze and she's in that. They're just Tifa haters, and they hate Tifa because Tifa ends up with Cloud. If they didn't think of Tifa as a threat, if they didn't think of Tifa as the reason that their ship never left the dock, okay, they would not be so hyper obsessed with her breast, with her outfits, with, whether other people are giving her unwanted attention. Boys and men will give Tifa attention, and they will somehow make it about Tifa wanting that attention based off of one little quote in Trace the Two Paths that they bastardize, because she started to see Midgar Midgar was taking all the people that she cared away, including Cloud, who she was in love with. So she started to dress like girls, almost like, she's 12. So in her mind, it's almost a competition between her and Midgar. So she starts dressing in Midgar clothing and stuff. She's 12. She's immature. She doesn't realize that, it's not about that. You just you just sad that your friends are leaving. And it's just 12-year-old girl logic. She also goes on later to realize that she was she was a pretty naive kid in some ways. And it shows throughout the book that she does not like the attention that men give her. She doesn't like the attention that even the adults gave her, because they used to talk about her looks and her body and stuff in not in a that kind of way, but still it was people were always looking at her but not seeing her. Cloud was someone who saw her. That's why he stands out for her. So but yeah, understand it is out of pure jealousy. When you see these people, call them out on it. Feel free and say, and I'm telling you, ask them, are you a Clarence by chance? They'll lie to him and oh, well, it's not about shipping for me, blah, 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 blah. Go look at their likes and their media and who they associate with. I promise you. Okay. You might find a couple one-offs here and there, some that are, you know, maybe on another ship, but they also support Clarence, or people who you might even find a couple just people who genuinely really just hate Tifa, and it has nothing to do with shipping. You might find some, you know, some unicorns out there. But it's mostly shipping. I mean, it's mostly shipping driven. Again, these particular types of people. So I'm done falling for the okie doke with these people. And I hope you are too. They are not honest actors. You know, they can pretend to care about women all day when it comes to Tifa. And I'm not saying they don't care about women in general, or they don't care about female characters. But their feelings around Tifa got nothing to do with what's her clothes are. Okay, what this got to do with this? And in fact, it's this. They don't even realize they're admitting that they think Cloud is in love with Tifa when they do this stuff, because what they're trying to justify in their mind is, for what reason would Cloud possibly ever choose Tifa over Aerith, or why Cloud would ever choose to be with Tifa over Aerith, or choose to be with Tifa, period. Because it can't be that she's kind to him, she's a caring person, they grew up together, they have a fun, you know, they did have some moments, blah, blah, he's attracted to, and he is attracted to her, of course, blah, 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 and that he likes her for the person that she is, and she's a good life partner for him. It can't be any of that, you know, because that would break the illusion. So they have to villainize every single thing about Tifa in order to justify this in their minds. So you know, it's nothing but vitriol. It's poisonous. You know, we gotta stop letting these people goad us into these nonsensical, nonsensical things about Tifa's clothing. You know, especially when she's 20. Tifa's a grown woman. She can wear whatever she wants. I don't care. And then it's not just that. It's not just that, because further evidence. Aerith so we just saw the ending of Crisis Core, and on the final video, if I do a cut of it, because I'll probably condense all my babbling. Aerith, you can see down her dress multiple times in Remake. I mean, like, I think I've even seen things where you could see her, I think, where you could even maybe see a bra strap or something like you can see down her dress. You can, even in Crisis Core Reunion, I mean, there are certain angles where I'm like, should they be doing that angle? You know, it's like a little, but she doesn't have the size of chest that Tifa has. And this is what I was talking about earlier with the whole double standard. She's a slender girl. Tifa's a voluptuous girl. So certain things, it doesn't matter. Like, Tifa's going to look busty regardless, because she's a busty girl. You know what I'm saying? Tifa could wear that same outfit Aerith has on right now, and they would deem it inappropriate. You know why? Because she's got a much bigger chest. And Aerith's chest is fine. Nobody's talking about that. You know, chests of all sizes are great. I'm just saying, if you are a girl, you know, there are certain shirts I can't wear that a girl that's slender than me, that maybe is a B or something, can wear. Why? Because I just have a bigger chest. That's just how, you know, bodies work. But my point being is, if they wouldn't call Aerith's outfit, which is perfectly fine, I love Aerith's Crisis Core outfit, if they're not going to call that slutty when it's on Tifa, I mean on Aerith, but they'll call it slutty when it's on Tifa, that tells you right there there's something off what they're thinking. And so if the outfit is fine on Aerith, you know, like sometimes you'll see people doing swaps where they're wearing each other's clothing. If the clothing looks fine on Aerith, then why can't it look fine on Tifa? Why is it suddenly slutty clothing if it's on Tifa versus Aerith versus any other character? And then Yuffie. You know, the thing that's going on right now, and then I'm done after this, and I'll read last comments and we'll get out of here. Yuffie. We've all seen Yuffie's outfit, okay? Now, Tifa's 15 in Crisis Core Reunion. Yuffie is 16 in the game. They're practically the same age. Yuffie is wearing next to, I mean, she's wearing a little halter top, sweater thing, you know, turtleneck sweater, halter top thing. I don't even know what to describe it as. And like these super short shorts that are unbuttoned, okay? To which when I first saw the intermission, when that sequence where she reveals her outfit, I was like, girl, button up your pants. What is happening here? You know? I mean, I was kind of joking, but I also was like, you know. But seriously, you don't see this refrain. You didn't see this refrain across the fandom where everybody was implying how big of a slut Yuffie was and da-da-da and this and that, and how she needed to cover up, and she's only fan service and she's too sexualized and this and that. The girl is wearing even less than Tifa. and 4 years younger than her. But these same people, these avowed feminists who only come out when Tifa has an outfit on and got nothing else to say about Scarlet or anybody else, okay? They all want to jump out there and attack Tifa and somehow make what the design, you know, they always want to go back to, well, you know, men designed her. Okay, well, why are you blaming her for what men designed to put her on? And then, like, this concept of sexy characters in video games and anime is new or something. They're trying to sell a product. Just because Tifa happens to have a voluptuous figure, do you think that Aerith was not created for the male gaze? I mean, are we living in reality? Have you seen the girl? Let me pull up one of my favorite pictures of Aerith. Let's see. In fact, you know what? Remake Aerith red dress. You know, again, this is with the double standard, and I'm not talking about. Again, this is not about all Claris. This is about Claris specifically, who always want to trash Tifa's appearance and claim that it's too slutty in this. These same people, go on and on about this red dress scene. Now, you can't necessarily tell this in the game, but oh, okay, same thing. You can't necessarily tell this in the game, but not only does she have this huge V-line neck, you know, the girls are out. God bless her. She looks fantastic. It's not just one slit all the way up to the thigh. It's two slits. So legs out and about. You know, she's got these kitten heels on or whatever. Like I said, you got the deep neckline. She's got a corset on. Like, and she says in the game, like, it was made for Kaneo's style. You know, she loves the middle dress. The middle dress is the one we call the Zack dress, because there's like a Zara type scene, Zara type music playing in the background and stuff like that. And it's a dress she actually likes. She feels comfortable in it. She feels pretty. But yeah, whereas the red dress is obviously the sexy, exquisite dress. But she doesn't even like the dress. She said it's gaudy and, you know, I can't move around in it. And this is for Kaneo's taste. She's not into it. Now so they hate Tifa, who is wearing an outfit that, you know, like a skirt with shorts under it. Her breasts are completely covered. You know, she's got some tummy and some thigh. And she's a tramp, even though what do you expect a martial artist to wear exactly? I mean, yeah, sure, it's not like martial artists don't cover up, but, you know, she's like, is she wrong for wearing an outfit where she has free movement, just like Yuffie does? And Tifa's a grown woman, as I said, but she's a tramp for wearing an outfit that helps her fight better, so she doesn't die in battle because other people want her to be, dressed like Amish women or something, covered from head to toe. She's at fault for that. But at the same time, a sexual outfit, a sexualized outfit, a character being designed for the male appeal suddenly doesn't mean anything when it's their favorite and they think that Cloud's having an aneurysm looking at her in it. Okay. I'm just saying, that's how you know they're hypocrites. Now, if these same people want to come out and say, yeah, that outfit was absolutely inappropriate and Eric needs to cover up and what a tramp for wearing that outfit, then I'll take your comments seriously. But until then, not buying it. That's all I'm saying. And then, like I said, yeah, because Eric has cleavage out in both of the games. Again, first off, I don't care. Both of the outfits look perfectly fine. You know, women do not need to be covered from head to toe. She looks beautiful in both of them. I'd have never even thought about it until I joined this fandom. How like that something was wrong with their outfits. I'm like, God, it drives me crazy. So yeah, I'm calling out all the hypocrites who find that outfit on Aaron perfectly fine. They never have anything to say about Scarlet, who got the girls all the way out. I mean, they all the way out. Never calling her a tramp and all that, or going on and on about how they designed her for the male gaze and that and this and that. But they always got something to say about Tifa, who is, by canon, a virgin who has never kissed a man until the night of the High Wind. Okay? So, even beyond, if you just think her outfit it's not that great, maybe, you know, they should have designed her differently. And there's certainly a discussion to be had about how women, because trust me, that's another thing. Like as if women is the poster child for women being sexualized in video games. Are you kidding me? Please. I can come up with 100 other women that are way more sexualized in their appearance than Tifa, who has a pretty mute, you know, like she's wearing black and white to match Cloud, basically. Like their color palettes are the same. So they put her in these pretty mute clothes. That's why the red eyes, the gloves, and the shoes stand out so much, because she's wearing pretty mute clothing, and Tifa's outfit is pretty close to what anybody would just be walking around in. You know, you take off the armor and stuff, you just be another girl walking down the street with a nice skirt on, little cute top. Would not think twice about Tifa walking by, other than the fact that she's freaking drop dead gorgeous. You would not think twice about her walking by. So, anyway, I'm done with that rant. I just wanted to call out these obvious hypocrites. Obvious hypocrites. It just drives me crazy. And I'm telling y'all, stop engaging with these people when it comes to Tifa. They have nefarious motivations. They do not care. It has nothing to do with her outfit. She could be where they could put her in Aerith's clothes today. They would still complain about it. Oh, well, you know, Eric would look so much better than that. Now there's still an outfit for Tifa. They'll always find something bad to say about Tifa, because they cannot stand the fact that Cloud and Tifa end up together. Cloud is wearing her out every night and perfectly happy doing so. That's on them. All right, let me read the final comments, and then we'll call it a night, because I am hungry. All right. Sorry. So, yeah. Shipping is vicious. Absolutely. I thought Baird was the bar owner. No, yeah. People were confused by that, but they since have confirmed that Tifa actually bought the bar. Yeah. Claudia already named Princess Sabbath. That's what I know her as. So, and I'm not. We don't interact as much on Twitter. That's why I forget sometimes what her handle is. I'm terrible at remembering handles. I'm sorry. Tifa would rock that potato sack like Marilyn Monroe sure would. I thought Bear was... Yeah. They're jealous. Tifa's beautiful inside and outside. Absolutely. She is Cloud's love interest, a great fighter, independent woman. The fact that she is super sexy is too much for them to handle. Yeah, it's just an added bonus. And that's one last thing is why Cloud is in love with Tifa, even though they think it must be, in some odd way, they think of Cloud as being shallow enough to only be into Tifa because she has, big breasts. Which, I mean, the way they portray Cloud is even worse than Aerith, in my opinion. It's awful. But, the man killed Sephiroth when he was 16, in large part because he was so mad about what happened to Tifa. He was in love with her a long time ago. He joined the army at 14 to impress this girl. He was already in love with her. Cloud, the game of OG happens in 43 days. Cloud has known Tifa 21 years or 20 years or whatever. They grew up together. So, give or take, because babies, whatever, memories that you whatever. But he's known her almost his entire life. They are judging how he must feel about Tifa based on a 43-day period when 90% of his feelings about Tifa precede this game. That's why it is, if you don't recognize that, I'll be diplomatic and say, and you claim to know the whole story and you don't recognize that her looks have very little to do with Cloud's affection for her, I question how you come to conclusions. Granted, I don't like Air Cloud spend enough time to form. Oh, yeah, Cloud and Air, again, 3 weeks or something. And it's not like they were spending quality time. They were running around chasing Sephiroth there in a group of 9 people. When did they have a chance to form a real bond? Especially when this dude was out of his mind the whole time. Anyway. Then if you defend Tifa, they get about you defending a fictional character. Yeah, it's always just a fictional character. Whenever one of them just said this about Zack. Oh, Zack's y'all do realize he's just a fictional character, right? Yeah, we do, except that apparently this fictional character sure got y'all having some real world meltdowns because y'all have been freaking out ever since Crisis Core Reunion was announced. So, and then let you make an Aerith, Sephiroth joke, and watch these same people go ballistic. They're always talking about, they're always making fun of Aerith when she died. Oh, I thought everybody was fictional. So what does it matter? What you getting upset about? Again, hypocrisy, no intellectual honesty, no intellectual integrity, no intellectual consistency. And again, I'm talking about the extremists. Most clerics just that I've come across, they just mind their own business. And yeah, they may not have opinions that I prefer, but most of them generally just enjoy their ship, mind their business. They're not out there running hate campaigns against Tifa and Cloudy 24/7. More power to y'all. I've liked my share of Clarithard. I think it's cute, I've seen, I saw one the other day where, Aerith was giving him a hug, like that friendship stuff. Yeah, I think it's cute. And I really do understand, even if I don't agree. I do understand, I can see why other people may find their dynamic appealing. I don't, but I'm not blind. I can see why people might find that appealing. Aerith is, if they find Aerith more exciting, or they like the kind of, I don't know if you call it rivalry, but that kind of bickering tit for tat thing. If they find that appealing, that's fine. I'm a big Bulma Vegeta fan. I'm not saying there's a 1-to-1 connection, but I think that's what a lot of people almost see when they see those two interacting. So they find it like kind of a romantic thing. I don't. But again, not knocking it. Live your life, If you like it, I love it. Live your life. But for these people who very well know that it is never going to happen for them, and now, instead of just being adults and moving on or just continuing to enjoy their ship because that's their right and they have every right to enjoy that ship, instead of just moving on and enjoying their ship, they now have made it their number one goal to ruin the rest of the game for Cloudys and Xeraths. And I'm telling you, the fact that that's been their, you look at their tweets, this group of extremists, you look at their tweets, 90% of the tweets are about why Tifa's a bitch, Cloudy sucks, Tifa never deserved Cloud never loved Tifa, or Cloud, had false feelings for, whatever it may be. It's all about why Cloudy and Xerath aren't canon, as opposed to why Clarith is a cool ship that everybody should be into. That tells you all you need to know. They absolutely know it's never going to happen. Oh, and this is the final thing. I'm sorry. I meant to mention this earlier. Is they so now the thing seems to be a lot of them are trying to now pivot. It's becoming too obvious that that Aerith was clearly in love with Zack. It's too obvious to where their lies are not working anymore about why Zack's a womanizer. Zack never loved Aerith. Zack was this. Zack was that. So now they're pivoting to, well, she did love him, and he did love her. But it's either all in the past and therefore irrelevant, because game makers are known to make an entire game which largely supports one ship, and it means absolutely nothing. Yeah, that's how game members, we're going to make a game. We're going to spend tens of millions of dollars. Let's make a game confirming a ship that has absolutely no meaning to the story that happens later. Yeah. Okay. As they say, okay, Jan. Yeah, Zach died trying to get back to her. Exactly. Exactly. So now they're doing two pivots. Either then, yeah, okay, she did love Zach, whatever. But it's all in the past and irrelevant, and that's why she's going to run into Cloud's arms, a guy who reminds her directly of Zach. So she'll take the carbon copy of Zach over she'll take the great value brand of Zach over the genuine item. Or now I see a lot of them trying to do like the new love triangle. Like, oh, now the love triangle is going to be Zach, Cloud, and Aerith. Yeah, because these two friends, one of which died for the other to save him, they're going to use Rebirth to make a Days of Our Lives segment where two best friends are warring over a chick of which one knew her for a week at this point. And she's only into because he reminds her of the best friend. That makes a lot of sense. So you're gonna see these two talking points happening a lot all the way up until Rebirth. Either it's all in the past, and or now the love triangle is going to be Cloud and Zach in Rebirth fighting over, forget the whole Sephiroth thing. Sephiroth's running around trying to destroy the planet. Shinra's still pulling their bull. Plot, whatever. No, the new thing is going to be Cloud and Zach fighting over Aerith. Now, you can choose to believe that, or you can choose to believe common sense and think, SE is not pushing all this Xerath and Cloudy to the entire fandom like this hard ahead of Rebirth to turn around and make Clarith the canon Rebirth couple. You can choose to believe their version or SE and Mai's version. Up to you. All right, and with that, last comments. Once at one point they were going to have Sephiroth. Yeah, that's true. All right, sorry. Sifting. So to see. SEA is really putting effort into the look. She is really wonderful. Even people who don't know anything about FF, as soon as they see her, it's one of the first comments they make about how gorgeous she is. All right, I assume you're talking about Tifa. Yeah, she's absolutely gorgeous. Wonder about Zach. He has Aqua Kingdom Hearts on date. Kingdom Hearts is a completely alternate universe. I mean, it has no, even though some of it, like the cloudy portion, so Kingdom Hearts 2 has an Advent Children portion, based like an Advent Children arc almost. That is based on the game. Most of it, though, are just cameos from different Final Fantasy characters. It has no bearing or ties to the actual game. Zack, as far as we could tell, doesn't even meet Aerith. And he's also like a kid. He's like 13, 14, whereas Aerith's 22. It's a completely alternate universe. It has no bearing on anything. Why they made that decision, I don't know, because obviously it's causing problems years down the line. But yeah, you can disregard it. It has no weight at all as far as the story FF7. Square Enix just sipping tea, watching the fandom burn themselves on Ship Wars. Well, Ship Wars only exists because for two reasons, in my opinion. One, because there's a faction of the fandom who not just doesn't care for the canon couples or want to ship them or even like them or whatever. There's a certain amount of people who are diehard on not only convincing you that the canon couples aren't the actual couples, but that their ship is. And that is their constant refrain. Over and over and over, they're trying to get you to believe them over your lying eyes. Okay, so you have that, and they have been going at it strong for a very long time. And at one point in this fandom, they dominated this fandom, from what I hear. I thank God was nowhere near this fandom when all this was going on, but they really dominated at one point. And now part of their problem is they are losing power quickly. Every day that goes by, they're influencing less and less and less people with their lies. They can't stand it, and they can't stand that loud bitches like me come out here and tell you the truth about the game and show you the evidence showing what I say about the game is true. Can't stand it. That's why I'm the big boogeyman of the DDC, you know. And then the other problem is, unfortunately, well, I'd say two more problems. One is fans who are in the middle, emotionally in the middle, genuinely, honestly in the middle, don't know because they don't have all the information that they need in order to make, you know, a determination, or they just kind of feel like he was into both girls, and you know, it's hard to shake first impressions too. So because they're both great girls and nice girls, and you don't want to see anybody's heart broken, and you like to, you know, a lot of people I think just would like to believe that yeah, they did, yeah, a lot of people would just like to believe that of course Cloud would possibly be in love with both, because they're both, you know, who wouldn't love both these girls? That's coming from a genuine place, I think. I don't agree it's not right. I mean, there's no evidence that he was in love with Aerith. But, you know, I understand that sentiment at least. And again, it's coming from a genuine place. It's not a, you know, them lying or a place out of malice or, you know, trying to be neutral both. But there is a faction of, you know, neutrals, you know, both sides. One side says this, one side says that. We don't know what the truth is. Well, yeah, neutrality and objectivity, two different things. Objectively, Cloud is in love with Tifa, proven by a C. Neutrality says, even though there's no evidence to the contrary, we're just going to say it anyway because it makes us feel better, or we're appeasing people, or whatever the thing may be. But then the final part is, if I can remember the final part. Yeah, and I would say the neutrality police probably is the last part, actually. So that's what I'm saying. There are enough people who want to do this neutrality thing, both sides thing. There's a lot of both sideser who feed into this ship war as well. You know, mostly without any evidence to support the idea that it was both. They will still go out there and with their whole chest say, yeah, he loved both girls. He was in love with both girls. And hell, he may have even chose Aerith as she lived and all this other stuff. No evidence to it. At most vague moments and vague statements. There are concrete 100% Cloud is in love with Tifa statements. Okay. There's implicit and explicit confirmations. Dozens of Cloud and Tifa being the couple. You see no such thing with Clarith. But there are a lot of people who will go out there, whether they're gaslighting or whether they just, you know, don't like Cloudies for some reason, or don't like, and just want to push this idea that you know, and I think a lot of this is driven by harem fantasy too, to some degree, because, you know, the fact that the love triangle narrative even happened, that's a male fantasy. It's not benefiting women. There's nothing about the harem fantasy that benefits women. At the end of every harem fantasy is a woman who's walking away heartbroken. Okay. And harem fantasy just basically treats women as if they're interchangeable. Like, this one's got a vagina. This one's got a vagina. You know, I can't decide which one I want. I got all these women that are chasing after me. Eventually I'll just do like any, mini, miny, mo, catch them by the toe. And that's how I decide which one I want to be with. It's dumb. I'm not saying real love triangles don't exist, but the harem fantasy is not based on, in large part, it's not based on real life love triangles. It's based on this fantasy of of a man who, and not in Cloud's case, but in a lot of cases you see this animation, this kind of pretty plain guy being chased after for no particular reason by all these women, all these super hot chicks. That's just fantasy stuff. So yeah, that's why these ship wars continue. Cloud's Purple, I can't imagine the time it wasn't. It was always popular, but what I'm saying is online, in the forums and stuff like that, Claris had completely overrun forums at one point from what I hear. And we're pushing their, you know, again, the toxic ones, were pushing their propaganda out, which is why even a lot of unsuspecting Claris are fooled by some of the stuff that they put out there. And then when you show them the truth, you're like, oh, wait a second, you know. Because a lot of them are just, they don't know that these people are lying to them day in and day out. Well, a lot of it with fake evidence. One tried to push a quote out of a fan book a couple weeks ago as evidence that Square Enix accepted Maiden as canon. A fan book, okay? And they knew it was a fan book because they own it. Just flat out lied. So fight for Eric. Cloud would rather die 1,000 times than steal his ex-girlfriend. And that's another thing. I mean, bro code is another thing. I think that's why I think that Zach, for the people who are not gonna be swayed by the fact that Tifa would be screwed over by this nonsense LTD thing, a lot of guys are gonna see Zach, who was Zach, who was Cloud's bestie, died saving his life, and see how in love he was with Aerith. A lot of guys are going to see that, and they are not going to want to see Cloud run off with his best friend's girlfriend. That's breaking so much bro code. That's going to appeal to a lot of men. And so they're really catching you with both sides. They're catching the women and the men between Tifa and Zach. Between the two of them, most fans are not going to want to see these two get cucked and screwed over by Cloud and Aerith, especially when you look at how vapid the relationship would have to be. They have known each other a week. Okay. Meanwhile, Zach was dating Aerith for 2 years, almost 2 years, and Cloud has been in love with Tifa's whole life. It's just it is not a story, especially when Final Fantasy VII is such a serious game. Nobody wants that telenovela drama dropped into the middle of this game. And especially when we've been dealing with this nonsense for 25 years. You can see how done SE is with it. I mean, they are just left and right tearing us up with Zach, with Xerath and Cloudy these days. They're just not even trying to hide it at this point. It is clear that this, in their minds, this LTD is done. So luckily, after Rebirth, we won't have to put up with this anymore. I will be so relieved. We got to put up with it for another year, because I'm sure the trailer will show something that they'll scream over, and claim, oh, this is the proof. This is the proof. All Aerith has, for these people, all Aerith, for the DDC, all Aerith has to do is look at Cloud or be in the same frame as him. And that's enough for them. Okay. You're never going to convince them otherwise. But 95% of the fandom, when Rebirth is done and what happens, and especially part 3, I'll be done with this conversation. It's a dumb war. A war takes two sides. One side is a battleship. The other side is a float with holes in the bottom. I mean, this is done. Okay. All right. I really do have to go. Oh, jobless behavior. Yeah. Only reason Zach was going back to Megar instead of Gongaga. Yeah, exactly. He would have been much safer trying to go back to Gongaga or somewhere. Instead, he goes heading into the Lion's Den just so he can keep his promise to Aerith. And that is a parallel, by the way, between these two ships. Because Xerath and Cloud have a ton of parallels. One of them is this promise. He promised to see her again. And Cloud promised to protect Tifa, and they both keep their promises. And I was being kind of a jerk because there was somebody who was salt posting under Tifa's okay, so the official account made a post about Tifa, and they're sitting there talking trash about Tifa and Tifa fans. And so I was like, yeah, well, Cloud promised to, and then we were going back and forth. I said, well, Cloud promised to protect Tifa, and he did it multiple times. What happened to your ship? Like, my point being that the girl who he made the romantic promise to, and it was a large part of his motivation for the, like, whenever she really needed him, he was there. Okay. And Zach and like Cloud would have, if it was between death and keeping that promise to Tifa, and not keeping that promise to Tifa, he would have chosen death. That's what I was talking about earlier with the Crisis Core reunion. He, in that moment, he was like, I would rather die than see harm come to Tifa, than not keep my promise to protect her. And unfortunately, like, that's exactly what happened to Zach. He was like, it is worth risking my life to see Aerith again. And that's what's so beautiful about their relationship. And it's a tragic relationship, but it does, like I said, have a happy ending in my eyes, because at least if they both die, they're going to be together. So that brings solace to me, because, what a better way to spend your afterlife than with the one that you love. It's really sweet. Anyway, okay, I really do gotta go for the ninth time. Keyboard warrior. Yeah. I mean, he really did try, but I mean, what are you supposed to do? Yeah, even if you are a soldier and Mako induced, it's you against 100, 200 men with guns. It was an impossible. Yeah, it was an impossible battle to win. So, anyway, I really appreciate everybody who stuck around. I said it'd be an hour as usual, and it's been 2 hours. But I really enjoyed talking to y'all about this. I am going to try to make a condensed version of this to put on my page. But in the meantime, anybody... Yeah, and I understand that people are up in the air about whether she's going to die now. But that's a story for another day. We'll get into that on another stream. See y'all. Yeah, I will try to, like I said, cut this into a smaller video. So for people who didn't get a chance to catch the stream, you can catch the edited version. So that'll be sometime this weekend. And I'm actually going to do some more God of War streaming this weekend as well. So... thanks so much. Y'all have a great Wednesday night. See y'all.